TransUnion recently reported that the number of people taking out home equity lines of credit, HELOCs, is up 50% approximately in just a 1 year period of time they measured. People are going gaga over HELOCs and their sibling home equity loans. A home equity line of credit is kind of like having a Mad Money account where you're approved for a line, and then when you want to do something, you write a check against it. So there are circumstances, and the home equity loan is a different thing. It's a fixed rate where you're given a set amount of money that you then pay back typically over 5 years, 10 years, or 15 years. So what's the reason that you would pull equity out of your home? The principal reason, and you got to have a really good exception for it to be anything other than this, is to improve that home. Improve that home. But how do the banks pitch this? Oh, take a vacation. Pay off your high-interest credit cards. Buy a boat. Buy a car with a tax-smart home equity line of credit. This upsets me so much. You know why it upsets me? Because I saw what it did to so many hardworking Americans 16 years ago when people started having their homes foreclosed on because the banks pushed these home equity loans to the hilt and lines to the hilt, and people borrowed to buy stuff or to do things not for their home, eroded the equity in their homes. When the housing market went through its slump, they were between a rock and a hard place. Couldn't sell, got foreclosed on. Brutal, brutal, brutal. But the bankers don't care. They just want to make their margins. And that's why they're pushing them. And like a fish with a hook in its mouth, the number of these people are taking out up 50% in a year. 50%. Because the bank said, I'm good for the money. Why don't I do it? Okay, so we're going to talk about different aspects of this. Number one, the purpose of a home equity line of credit or a home equity loan is to improve your home. A repair, a new roof, an addition, a renovation, something that preserves or enhances the value of the home. On the other hand, taking that equity out of your home and using it to take a vacation, yeah, the vacation might have been fun, but now you have less equity in your home and another obligation. Choosing between a loan and a line. Let's say you're going to do an improvement on your home, and it's going to take you not months but years to pay off the cost of that. Doing a home equity loan, and the sweet spot is for a 5-year home equity loan, because the interest rates are much more favorable on that than a 10 or 15. You use it to, let's say, add on a room to your home. You take out that home equity loan, you have a fixed interest rate for the next 60 months. You do a line, that rate floats. And as people have seen of late, as the Federal Reserve's been raising the interest rates it controls, home equity lines of credit go immediately up in tandem with the increases from the Federal Reserve that are not over yet. Okay, let me give another circumstance. Having a home equity line of credit would make sense. Roughly a third of Americans own their homes free and clear. And so that's a fantastic thing. Having a standby home equity line of credit, usually you can obtain these from a credit union with no closing costs or tiny ones. Having it there for an emergency fund, rainy day, whatever, is a fair thing. You wouldn't be taking out a lot of the equity of your home. If you did have an emergency, you own your home free and clear. That's a different circumstance, because you'd never end up with a great deal of your equity eroded by that. But remember this rule. The purpose of a home equity line or loan is to improve that home, period. Krista, 50% increase. You know, it shows how successful advertising is. The banks start pushing this junk, and people respond. I remember, you may not remember this, but I remember in 2006, I was riding down an interstate, and a bank had this series of billboards that said, "Tap the equity in your home," is what the tagline was on every billboard. And one of them was a picture of a family smiling in a boat. Another was a picture of a family smiling by their new car. Another was a picture of people on a vacation somewhere. And it was all about tapping your house for lifestyle. And I remember then I was doing radio, being on the radio show and saying, "Mark my words, this is going to burn you. Don't do this. Don't let the sea serpent bank take advantage of you and con you into harming your financial security and your financial future."